All right, I'm answering the question, Duxelle. How to make Duxelle? What is Duxelle? Or as the French call it, and it is a French word, Duxelle, or Duxelle. They don't pronounce the X the way we do. D-U-X-E-L-L-E, Duxelle. Alrighty, this is a mushroom and onion hash, if you will. That's kind of like a paste. They're both sautéed individually, finely chopped, dried a little bit with a towel, seasoned with a little bit of tomato paste and some salt and pepper. This is used for multiple uses. The list is so long, I mean, I could sit here and go through 100 items that I put it in myself. It's particularly being used in the stuffed cabbage roll in the vegetable DVD, and that's part of the reason why this particular skill video is being made. But you can use Duxelle for a number of things. A couple of quick examples: stuffing your artichoke bottom in your cleaned and cut artichoke, maybe mixing it with a little bit of blue cheese, whatever. Stuffing mushrooms with this mushroom and onion hash with some cheese or without some cheese, or with shrimp or crab or whatever you feel like. Duxelle goes on top of so many things, like I used to serve it on a dish in Chicago in a place where I was a chef for many years, where we took a slice of eggplant, sauteed it so it was almost tender enough to eat, and then we put the Duxelle on top and then baked it and gratinade a gorgonzola or Roquefort cheese sauce over the top. It was a nice item. It was very popular. But the Duxelle just adds flavor to things. All by itself, it tastes good. So I'm going to get on with showing you how to do that first. First, I'm going to dice an onion. And you do have a video for dicing an onion, but I'm going to go through it with you one more time real quick. Don't cut the onion. Oops, let me get a better knife. Don't cut the onion all the way through here. See, the onion's still in one piece, sort of. It's just cut almost all the way through. I'm going to do this slowly. And then again, I'm not cutting it all the way through. And it comes right up diced like that. Look at that. And then when you get to the back end of the onion, you cut that up separately. Then we're going to get this. Half onion is all I need here for this demonstration for you. We're going to take this half onion and we're going to put a little bit of butter into this hot saute pan I got here. I'm using whole butter. You can use clarified butter. I suggest butter, even though you can use olive oil. It just tastes better, I think. I'm going to put a little bit of dried leaf thyme and a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And we're going to saute that real quick. And now we're going to slice up some mushrooms. And something I haven't showed you in any previous videos, and that is how to slice a mushroom. Of course, I'm going to slice the mushrooms for the Duxelle like this, because I'm going to chop the mushrooms anyway. But there's multiple ways to slice the mushroom. Once you can take the stem out, for example, and let's say you wanted the mushrooms in a sauce, like in the brown mushroom sauce from the Stock and Sauce DVD, for example. You can cut the mushroom in half and then slice it. Now the reason you might do that is because now it's going on a fork inside of a sauce, which is different. You don't need the mushrooms to be that big. It would be disproportionately too big if you did what I'm doing here to put it in a sauce, for example, okay? So, let me get some of these mushrooms sliced up here real quick. And I'll show you slowly another way to handle the mushroom while you're slicing it. Now it starts to get too far down for you, boom, you can put it over on its side again. Until you get used to holding almost nothing of a mushroom. Now there's one more little thing I'm going to show you about slicing mushrooms, and it's also a thing to put into your knife skill repertoire, and that is How to make sure you don't cut yourself with the knife. Now, how to make sure. I don't know if make sure are the right words, but I have this ridiculous saying that I tell students all the time about cutting themselves and handling their knives. And it sounds like this. The only time you cut yourself is immediately after you're pointing the knife at yourself. Unless, of course, it falls off of a table and hits your foot or something like that. But while you're using the knife, you're only going to cut yourself if you're aiming the knife at yourself. Unless, again, it's a ricochet or something like that. For example, if I aim the knife slightly away from me, I'm not aiming at myself. If I aimed it slightly in and I was slicing, I'd kind of be aiming it at myself. So aim it away, and you really can't hit yourself. If you do, it's because your hand slips or something like that. I'm at the point, if you bring the camera up to my eyes, where I can do this without looking at the mushrooms because I know there's not a chance that I'm going to slice myself because I'm aiming the knife away from myself. How do they say this? Don't try this at home. You can, but just be careful. All right, so there's some sliced mushrooms. And we're going to do the same thing with them as we're doing with the onions. And that's we're going to saute them in a little bit of butter, but with just some salt and pepper. And again, I have a little hot pan here. Mushrooms have a tendency to absorb more butter, of course, than onions. And I'm going to throw a little bit of salt and pepper on the mushrooms. Again, being careful not to put what I think is the total amount of salt that's going to go into those mushrooms. Is at the end, I want to be able to season the duxelle with the salt. I don't want the whole thing to be too salty. I put too much on it now, especially considering the fact that this is all going to shrink down. By the time you wring it out, cook it, chop it, in the case of the mushrooms, we have to chop them again after they're sauteed. By the time you do all that, the whole thing shrinks, which means the amount of salt that used to be in a larger amount is now in a smaller amount. So that looks like a lot, so it's not. My point is, don't put too much salt in this, okay? All right, I'm going to give these two items about 3 or 4 minutes to saute, and I'm going to take a time elapse, run away real quick, and I'll be back in 3 or 4 minutes right now.